So let me just tell you right now that buying a tractor will make you feel like a freaking idiot. So welcome back to Goldshaw Farm. It's a miserable rainy day outside right now as we're in this prolonged stick season of December where it's not all that cold, but it's not all that warm, and it's just rain and miserable, and I feel like I'm living in Seattle and not Vermont. So given that it's miserable outdoor weather, I figured it'd be a good time to do a little bit of tractor maintenance. I just hit the 10-hour mark on my shiny new Kubota tractor, and I figure it's about time for me to grease the front end loader. You're supposed to do that every 10 hours. And you know, I've never been one for doing proper maintenance, but since this is a brand new tractor and I've spent a ridiculous amount of money on it,
everything burns.
I feel like I should be turning over a new leaf and treating my things well. And well, in this case means giving it some grease. But I also had a little bit of a rant that I wanted to share with you about my experience going from researching to buying to now owning a tractor, and just how the whole process isn't all that consumer friendly. So in this video, I will be doing a little bit of ranting and a little bit of lubing. And this might become a new feature on our channel that I'll probably call something like Ranting Lubatic. Gosh, you guys worked that one up quick. I'm impressed. So I'm not a guy who grew up on a farm. I'm not a guy who grew up working with equipment. I've never been one to know much about cars. Heck, I've never been one to really work with my hands. My father was a guy who was never all that mechanically inclined, and he ended up passing that skill set down to me. But over the last 3 years that I've been living here on this farm, I've worked really hard to start building out new skills. I've learned to design things, I've learned to build things, and I'm just starting to learn how to fix things. And because my farming operation has grown over the last couple of years, I knew that I was gonna need a tractor. And so I started the process, I don't know, about 9 months ago, researching what type of tractor I should get, how much it would cost, what's the right brand, what's the right model, what features are important. And I will say point blank, that whole process sucked. When you look at all of the major tractor manufacturers, they all have these makes and models of their products. And so, for example, I ended up buying a Kubota tractor. And when you look at the Kubota lineup of tractors,
M5660SU, M6060, M7060, M4 Series, M5 Series, M8 Series, M Narrow Series, M Low Profile Series, M6H, M6S, M7 Series.
It's a total alphabet soup that doesn't make much sense at all. And so if you are not somebody who's coming from the agricultural industry, not somebody familiar with tractors or heavy equipment, it can kind of be overwhelming. They really don't make the tractor industry accessible to people coming in from outside the industry. And I get that probably their highest value clients are people who've been working with tractors for years, but still it's sort of a shame that it's so complicated and complex. Like, you go online to try to do your research and you look at the website and you look at the models and everything that they've got, and it just makes your head spin. If you ever try to walk into a showroom of a tractor dealership, you just get swarmed and upsold, and you'll probably want to take a shower after you leave said dealership. And so it's really frustrating to be somebody coming in, not 100% sure what you want, knowing maybe some of the basic tasks that you need to do, but looking to try to find some clarity. I did turn to some YouTube videos, and some of them were pretty helpful. Messics, a helping hand with your land. And so shout out to all those guys, especially my buddy Josh over at the Stony Ridge Farmer. He probably does some of the best tractor videos out there. But still, you come into it and there's just this whole vocabulary that if you're not familiar with tractors, it's just foreign to you. Like, for example, let me give you 3 terms that I would have assumed were a foreign language up until about 6 months ago. Zerk. Apparently that's the name of the fitting that is on the valve that where you have to like put your grease gun into and pump the grease. ROPS. That's actually that bar thingamajigger that if you roll over, it prevents the tractor from crushing you to death. And then PTO, which I used to assume was like when you take time off from work, but actually is the power takeoff. That's the thing that like spins around and powers like an implement that you might be pulling behind the back of your tractor. So for example, my brush hog or my snowblower, the PTO itself is actually really cool because that's what lets you have all sorts of different implements that you attach to your tractor, and they don't have to be made by the same manufacturer. Again, stuff that if you're a tractor newbie, you just might not know. And so I say all of this just as an appeal to the tractor industry. Guys, come on. Why can't you make this more accessible to other people? Why can't you make it easier entry for somebody who's a newbie? Help people out, help them figure out the way without them feeling like they're being upsold. I know that the tractor industry isn't alone in this sort of thing.
PC load letter? What the f does that mean?
But it's just something that I think is worth considering, and I figured I'd use this platform to throw that out there. I'm probably just screaming into the void on this one. All right, so as I get ready to grease up the front end loader for the first time on my tractor, I actually made this whole binder of all of the manuals for my tractor, so I know exactly what I need to do, and so keep all my manuals together, because I'm finding that I have to read these things constantly. So let's get out the front end loader manual, and let's see what she says. And by the way, just another aside on this whole rant, this whole tractor manual is like written like garbage. It starts off with a whole bunch of gobbledygook and legal warnings that their lawyers probably want in there to prevent them from getting sued. But when you read it, on page 1 of the operator's manual, without any sort of context or guidance, it warns you, make sure both lock pins, parenthesis LH, RH, protrude through the pin slots. Bro, I'm just opening up this manual and that's page 1 of this thing? Like, what does that even mean? You know, these manuals, they go back and forth between writing some of the dumbest, most obvious stuff you could possibly imagine, or giving you these complicated, complex diagrams and charts with no glossary or context to them, that if you're somebody who's just starting out, you'd have no idea what they're talking about. Incredibly frustrating. But let me figure out where I need to grease here, okay? Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see this, but these are all the points that I'm gonna have to lubricate. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I assume there's probably a second set on the other side. So it's a total of 16 points that you're supposed to lubricate every 10 hours. So let's get to it. Got my handy grease gun, I got my handy rag. So that little pin dealy, that is the grease zerk. Go. Wasn't too bad at all. I have to admit, I was really intimidated by the idea of having to do regular tractor maintenance. But as I've started to get in there and start doing like daily checks that I need to do and doing very regular maintenance like this, I'm finding it's not too difficult and it's not rocket science. These things are pretty well designed and they're pretty simple. And so if you guys are out there and you're thinking about tractors or thinking about a farm in general and the idea of a tractor intimidates you and scares you away, I gotta admit, don't do it, because I spent so long being intimidated by tractors and not looking into them that I feel like I've lost a little opportunity by waiting so long. So far, I've been very glad that I've made the move, and I feel like I'm learning a lot of new skills now. And on the other good news front, it seems like the rain's finally stopped, so I can actually go outside and do some work. But first, I think I'm gonna wash my hands because they're all gross. So yeah, you guys are probably wondering what my project for today is. Well, as you can probably see right here, I've been doing some digging. So some of you guys in the comments were asking me why I kept leaving my tractor outside. I mean, it was a brand new tractor, right? And I was leaving it outside pretty much on the regular. The reason for that is that's the tallest barn door that I have here on the farm. And it is exactly 8 feet high. And when it comes to my tractor here, with the canopy that sits on top of the ROPS, I know, it's a weird term. Well, with that canopy sitting over there, it's exactly 8 feet too. And so the problem that I had was I couldn't quite get the tractor in through there. I got my shovel out and I started to do a little bit of digging. And I've now lowered the ground about a good 7-8 inches, which gives me plenty of clearance to get the tractor in and out. But what I'm worried about is water and mud starting to pile up there. And then on top of it all, if you actually look, right, we've got that gigantic roof right up there. And when the winter happens, right, we get a lot of snow and that snow slides off the roof and it goes right there. And if I'm not super diligent about clearing that snow out, I also run the risk of getting my tractor stuck in there. All in all, it's not the ideal spot to be keeping a tractor of this size. I think ultimately longer term, I'm gonna need to address my equipment storage. The other downside is I don't have electrical out to this part of the barn. And so I've got to figure out a way to get some sort of electricity out to the tractor to keep it warm at night, because on a cold morning, that tractor is not gonna turn over for me.
That's what she said.
All right, enough yakking at you guys. I'm gonna go get to work. There you go, that's looking pretty darn good. Tractors have a lot of drawbacks, like they're expensive and they take effort to maintain, but man, they make certain tasks super easy. If I was just doing that with a shovel, whew, I would have been there for hours, and that took me less than 5 minutes. By the way, the other thing I'm really excited about with the tractor, got this snow blower here. That's gonna be a big part of how I do the snow removal around the farm, but unfortunately, even though we're in the middle of December, we haven't gotten any snow.
2 days later.
We got our first real snow of the season today. It started off as a light dusting that was going as I came out to do the morning chores. But as the day went on, the snow just continued. All in all, we got 5, maybe 6 inches of snow in total today. Nothing crazy, nothing epic, but just the right amount of snow to test out my new snowblower. You know, I really do feel like I've been waiting and waiting for this moment. And as I got out there with the snowblower and I started to clear, it was amazing. Just, excuse me, I'm trying to shoot a video. And as I got out there with the snowblower and started clearing paths and just going with it, it was incredible. I mean, it's such a powerful machine that I have. I really do feel like the possibilities are absolutely endless for the farm. How's it going? I know that I had to swallow some pride as I got into the process of tractor shopping, and I know I have a lot to learn when it comes to tractor maintenance. But when I can see just how much impact I can make on this farm by using a tool like a tractor, it absolutely feels worth it. And I'm willing to stretch myself and push myself so that someday I can be proficient with it. And I can just make a massive impact on my farm. You know, in life, it's never easy to start something new or to take on a new skill. But as I'm experiencing that feeling again as I take on the work with the tractor, it's just such a good reminder that when you stretch yourself and you push yourself and you step out of your comfort zone, there's some pretty incredible things that you set yourself up for. That's really what life is all about. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you should just keep it going by binge watching yet another one of our videos. So take a look up over here, and I'm really curious to hear about what new skills you guys are learning. So drop that down below in the comments, and I'll see you guys in that next video. Have a great day, or I guess night now, because it's getting dark so darn early. I mean, heck, it's only 6 p.m. as I'm recording this.